So I bought myself a smart trainer. So just before we actually kick off the review, I just want to preface this by saying this is a normal person's review. This is not about does it measure the wattage accurately to within 0.5% of what you're actually putting out. This is not can it do super fancy detailing and all that sort of stuff. It's will you use it if you want to get one. There are so many other reviews that are out there that will tell you all of the fine technical details, but that's not the sort of thing I do. So just be aware of that going in. So you're likely to know from my channel that I really like cycling. I've been doing a lot more mountain biking over the winter, and I'm really looking forward to getting back into road cycling once actually the weather gets a bit nicer, because it's not great at the moment, let's be honest. But I always find that transition, that first couple of months, really tough to be able to start actually feeling fit and healthy and enjoying road cycling. So I decided to help along my fitness journey by buying a smart trainer. So I bought the Wahoo Kickr Core. Now, I've been thinking about this for a couple of years, and constantly my thought is I don't have enough space, it's going to be too noisy, it's going to make it difficult to actually use. Am I going to use it as much as I thought I would? Because setting it up, do I want to have to take it down, put it back up? Do I want to take the bike out? I have to say, moving house has been a massive help. I'm not suggesting you move house, but the biggest thing for me is I can much more easily get my bike in and out of the house. So it makes it much easier to be able to bring the bike to the trainer if I've taken it off in the meantime. I've got somewhere to store the bike. It makes everything a lot easier. But actually, I've been amazed at how little space it takes up when it's actually up when I'm using it. And also how quiet it is. I should say, actually just interrupting for a moment, when it comes to the noise is interesting because people talk about, is it going to be noisy? The Kickr itself is not noisy at all. It is virtually silent because it's a very simple direct drive belt fed thing that is super quiet. There are two things that create the noise. One is your chain. So the better lubricated it is, the better set up the gear system is, all of that sort of stuff. That's nice and quiet. And second is just the effort of actually cycling and moving and rocking slightly and all of those sorts of things. That's what creates the noise. So yeah, it is virtually silent, but be aware that it is not a silent activity. So bought it a couple of weeks ago. Did the unboxing. I've discovered I'm not very good at unboxing videos. I think that's fair, but essentially everything that you need is in the box. It's beautifully packaged, it's simple, it's straightforward. There's 4 bolts to put in to be able to put it actually together. It's super, super simple. Even the tools that you actually need to be able to do it are in there. You put a sprocket on, cassette for the gears. I went with like I had a choice. I had to go for a 9-speed cassette because that's what I've got on my road bike. It means you need to use a spacer that they include in the box. That was something I was worried about. I kept seeing people saying you need to put a spacer on, but it wasn't clear whether the spacer was included in the box. It is, so that's simple and straightforward. The only thing that you'll need is a cassette tool, but you can get them off Amazon, super cheap and cheerful. There was some debate as to whether I should go for exactly the same cassette that I had on my bike, whether I should go for a different size of cassette, so I could potentially change that over on the bike and have a couple of options. I just went with pretty much the same one. I didn't go for a fancy one. I went with an Amazon special cassette, which I'm really hoping doesn't damage my chain, but I'm sure it won't. And yeah, got it all set up, and it was easy and it was straightforward. And connecting the bike is so simple and so straightforward that I was worried I'd not want to take the bike off, and then thinking it might actually take up quite a lot of space and room. To be honest, even if I don't take the bike off, if I know I'm going to be using it one day and I'm going to use it the next, I will generally leave it on, and yeah, it works pretty well. It just fits against my cupboards here, and yeah, it's quite neat and tidy. But then taking it off, if I know I'm not going to use it for a couple of days, take it off, put the bike back outside. And the Kickr itself is so small. There is an issue with it, which is it doesn't have a handle. And I don't understand why it doesn't have a handle, because
it feels like it should. The more expensive version comes with a handle, but I can't imagine that the handle adds a great deal of cost to it. But you do find that there's an easy-ish way to pick it up. It is much heavier than I thought it was going to be, but you can pick it up by the rim of the wheel that the cassette is attached to. Just be aware it does rotate, it does spin, so you just have to be careful when you pick it up. But yeah, I've been using it now for 2 weeks. I've done about 8 hours of cycling on Zwift. So this isn't a review of Zwift, but I guess the question is what do you do with your trainer? You could just sit and stare into a blank wall and spin, and I have heard stories of people that are the long distance sort of endurance cyclists doing that because it helps train their mental focus as well. But I use Zwift with it, which if you haven't come across it, I'd be surprised if you're watching a review of this and you haven't had a Zwift, but you've got a little avatar that cycles around a little world and represents your cycling. And I like the fact there are two aspects to it. So there is the free cycling where you can just go on a nice route, or there's the training side of things where it alters the energy, the power that you're putting into the trainer according to the program that you're on, to the training workout that you're on. And I've done bits of both. I have to say I've found it, when I do the workout, they feel much harder at the time because depending on the workout you do, it can kind of test you and push you. When I've then done a free ride, because I'm the master of my own destiny, I then tend to push myself more consistently throughout the whole thing. So I often find actually I feel more tired at the end of a free ride than I do a workout, but probably the workout will be more beneficial in terms of my fitness. So it's quite interesting how all that works. But yeah, so I've done about 8 hours or so far in the last couple of weeks, and it's been great. There are a couple of things that you definitely need. Definitely need a fan. Wahoo make a big headwind fancy fan that matches to your heart rate, and it looks fantastic, but I don't have space for that in here. I don't know where I'd fit it, and I just don't think I'm going to use that. I've got a little handheld fan that just creates a little bit of a draft. It's fine at the moment because it's spring-ish. It is officially spring now. It's not that hot in here. I think in the middle of summer I'll probably need to get a slightly bigger fan, but that works absolutely fine for what I need. And you need a towel because you will get sweaty. And there are so many fancy bits and pieces, and you can get rocker boards that you put the trainer on to help emulate the feeling of being on a road, and you can get fancy towels that string themselves from the seat post to the handlebars. And I just think actually, quite straightforwardly, just a normal hand towel works absolutely fine.
One more interruption, just very briefly on other things you need. The thing that I find really useful, I've got a yoga mat that I put underneath my trainer, underneath my bike when I'm using it, because you sweat a lot. And so you could just, if you've got wooden floors, great, you just sweat onto the floor and you can wipe it up afterwards. I've got a rug in this room where if I just sweated into that, I would A, get a yellow stain after a while, and B, it would start to smell. So I put a yoga mat down just to protect the floor. In theory, it also helps with noise. So if you were on a second floor, if you're in a flat, it would help absorb some of the noise. But yeah, mostly it's just to keep the floor dry.
You can spend as much as you want on this, but if you just want a simple, straightforward entry point, the Kickr Core, I got it actually through Zwift's website because it was £100 off the Wahoo price. It was the cheapest price I could find. So shop around. I could have got a reconditioned one from Wahoo, but for the same price, I got a brand new one from Zwift. Delivery was fantastic. But yeah, it's been really good. And actually, I have to say that the ease of using it and the space that it takes and all of those sorts of things, that's probably the best part of it, that I really hadn't expected it to be quite so easy. And the fact that I can just take my bike off and take it outside and suddenly it becomes a small thing that I can stow away under my desk really easily. Absolutely superb. So yeah, I think basically, if you're thinking of getting one, just get one. Like, don't bankrupt yourself to do it. Don't put yourself into debt. But I prevaricated and thought about it and considered it and thought about would it work and would it make a difference. And yeah, I love it. I'm feeling fitter and healthier already. I'm definitely noticing that each time I get on the bike, I feel more ready to go, which means I'm really looking forward to my road cycling as the weather gets better. But I've also found it has been helping with the mountain biking. So yeah, generally, do it, get one. It's a good thing. I don't really know what else to say. What I'd like to know is what questions you'd want to know before you got it. Because actually, I had a whole bunch of questions, mostly how easy is it to put the bike on? How straightforward. Connection to Zwift, really simple, really straightforward. All the connections, you get the Wahoo app and it just pairs everything beautifully. It's simple and straightforward. You can use your Apple Watch as a heart rate monitor. It's not perfect. I ended up getting a separate heart rate monitor because I wanted one. Yeah, I think that's probably the long and the short of it. But you can use your Apple Watch. It's just not perfect because it's a bit annoying in terms of the pairing process. Not going to go into that right now. There's lots of people on the internet who've explained it better than me, including Zwift themselves. But yeah, you can use your Apple Watch as a heart rate monitor. It's good. I really enjoy it. Let me know if you've got any questions that you want me to answer. Put them in the comments below and I'll either respond to them in the comments or I'll make a video explaining how I found it. But I've really found this has helped my fitness journey and my cycling journey. So yeah, hope that helps. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.